Hey guys, it's Beast back with some more Beastly content. Today I'm going to do a quick little guide over how to get better at racing games. So without further ado, let's go! Wrong brake. Alright, so I suppose you're curious, what the frick does that mean, Beast? Well, you see, in most racing games there's two types of brakes. There's the E-brake, and there's your normal brake. And believe it or not, 90% of racing players, it seems, use the E-brake instead of the normal brake. You do realize why it's called an E-brake, right? E is for emergency brake. Does that mean that every freaking corner you take is an emergency? And another thing, don't always use your brake to take a turn. Okay? I'll go on that in the next part. Slow down to speed up. Alright, so I know this is kind of a weird thing to say, because normally, to go fast, you have to go fast. And you've always heard the term, pedal to the metal, but that does not always apply, especially when there's a freaking sharp turn. You do not have to always slam on your brakes when you go to take a turn. Just let off the gas a tiny bit and turn. If it's a deeper turn, maybe you need to tap that brake, but do not hit the brake constantly. Now, if you're confused as to why this works like this, it depends on the car usually, but even if it's a four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, or even back-wheel drive, doesn't matter. You're always gonna have a need to slow down a bit to turn. Four-wheel drive especially, because that's four wheels that are applying forward direction of force. So when you slow down, those two front wheels, they can turn a bit easier. Your whole car turns a bit easier. Now, the next part, well, there's the front-wheel drive, in which all the power is from the front, so the front's dragging your car, and if you don't slow down there, well, you might just spin out of control, so slow down a bit so those wheels can turn. Once again, back-wheel drive, that's where all the power is coming from the back. That means all your traction is important in the back. Front, not so much, that's what you're turning with. So you slow down a bit, now you're not getting full force. I suppose I could go into, I don't know, physics, whatever. But if you slow down something, it's easier to turn. It's like, kind of like a semi, except for the opposite, I suppose. Anyway, next part, go. Get back on the road. Okay, now, I'm sure you probably understand this, but some people don't seem to understand the fact that you have to be on the road in order to go fast. Now, I understand some of you think, oh, I'll take the grass, it's a shortcut. Well, here's the thing about the grass. You go slower in the grass, okay? The reason why it says miles per hour is because that's how fast you can go in an hour. When your miles per hour decreases, you're gonna go slower. So taking your little shortcut through the grass and dropping it down to 40 miles per hour when you're going 100 and something is not a shortcut at all. Now, there are parts where you probably should, but that's the next part. Shortcuts only when they actually benefit you and they're not just cutting through grass and going like 2 miles an hour. Go. Don't stop going fast. Okay, now I know this one's kind of ridiculous because I've said it the entire time, but some people don't understand that you probably shouldn't stop going fast. It's not just about passing your opponent. Because while it is, at the same time it isn't, because the only reason why you pass your opponent is because you're going faster than them. And if I said, or they're going slower than you, it would be the same thing. You're going faster than them. So when you slow down really slowly to make a turn, like, I don't know, maybe it's a really sharp turn, so you slam on your brakes, and I've already mentioned this, but you slam on your brakes while holding down the gas pedal. That just creates a burnout. You know what a burnout is? It's where you hold down your gas and your brake and your tires spin and they lose traction to the ground. Less traction means slower, okay? You don't want to cause a constant burnout, so don't be slamming your brake while you have your sinking finger on the gas. Because you know what? There's a little mini burnout as you're turning. Slow you down even more. Watch the speedometer. Alright, now I know this one's kind of an odd one to say because I've just said the speed one. So I'm just going to try and fly through it. But you see, most people don't watch the speedometer, and I've caught myself not watching it. And they don't realize that they've been slowed down that much by a shortcut. So if you're going through a race and you're going to try and take your own little new shortcut, watch the speedometer and make sure that one spot doesn't have a weird traction issue and it just goes super slow. Because if you do, well then you're probably gonna lose again, and you don't want to lose again. So yeah, watch the speedometer. I guess you never heard of style, man. Alright, so I'm sure you heard that guy who's sitting there and he in the comment sections of a video because for some reason you're watching some racing game and he's playing it and he goes, you do realize drifting doesn't make you go faster, it slows it down. And then someone responds, it's not about the game, it's about the style, man. That's not what I'm talking about at all. Anyway, so there's technically two main types of styles when racing, at least for racing games. There's aggressive and there's rule follower. Now, you can play as either of them. However, rule followers, I don't know, like, I like playing as a rule follower, as you don't hit anything, you don't crash into any walls, don't hit any people, you just swerve through them, drive the best you can. It feels like real driving. But then there's the aggressive ones. Since you're in a game, and most of the time those games just automatically fix your vehicle if you drive through a gas station or something, you don't care if you destroy a fender or two. So on those turns where you're supposed to slow down, you use the other cars to get yourself turned, or you run into the back of another car, cause it to wreck all the other cars, you run into some other car, whatever. That's aggressive style. And while it's alright, don't play it stupidly, and don't be like wrecking into every freaking car you see on the highway, because the chances are that car's probably not going to cause any of your enemies, whatever else you want to call them. They're probably not enemies per se, unless there's certain enemies in the game. But you know, whatever. Just make sure that you play aggressively smart, which is weird to say. But if you're going to be a rule follower, make sure you play it smart. You see, just choose, you better decide right now. If you're going to be a rule follower, stick to one side of the road. If you're going to be an aggressive person, try and like find your favorite side, but at the same time, don't be afraid to switch it up. Anyway, I suppose that's all for now. I'm going to go ahead and roll some examples of what I mean about the whole braking thing and slowing down, speed up and everything. But besides that, see you guys, it's Beast, back with some more beastly content. Today I'm going to show you just a few of the tips I mentioned in the video, such as the wrong brake, slow down to go fast, and other things like that. So I suppose what I'm going to do is, actually, how close is this? Never mind, I'm going to find another mission. This perf spec required. Just because perf spec is probably the best, at least speed-wise, to show you. Now, this isn't the best example because, well, perf spec is really high level. Well, at least mine is, because it's 45 and it's... yeah, I have a lot more than what I need to have. Anyway, so suppose we're going to go now. First things first. I'm going to go ahead and get my headphones on. Besides that. So, I already said wrong brake. That means don't use your e-brake, use your normal brake. I've said slow down to go fast. That makes pretty much decent sense. And everything else. So, yeah. As you can see, I think I'm going to play aggressive. I don't know, though. Alright. I used my normal brake, not my e-brake. This is normal brake, this is e-brake. E-brake slows you down a lot more. Besides the fact that it also causes you to turn out of control. This, use the e-brake, see what happens. Do not use your e-brake. Use your normal brake if you have to, but I usually just like to leg off the gas pedal. Let off the gas pedal for some turns. Use your normal brake if you have to, but otherwise just let off the gas a bit and you'll be able to turn easier. Clear through that. Let's turn this down a bit. It's so easy to run, though. I would suggest staying on the road, but like I said, I'm taking this under here. Even though I could be taking the spot over here. It's just kind of personal preference for this one. But yeah, use whatever you can. If there's a car in the way on that one, go over to this one. And of course, that's different for maps, but yeah. And also, I feel like that would be faster. But right now, And if you're on controller, it's even easier. I could have got my PS3 controller to my PC, but I'm not worried about it right now. If you're on controller, usually your brakes actually map to L, whatever, L, R, right bumper, left bumper. Left bumper. Usually brakes left bumper, gas is right bumper. I hate console. I actually do prefer controller on racing games though, so I may hook up my PS3 controller later. If you don't know how to do that, ask in the comment section, and maybe if enough people ask, I'll show you how to use controller on PC. Because it's pretty easy. There's a little thing you run, but it's pretty easy. I like it. Controller on here is really good, even PS3 controllers. Xbox controllers are pretty much guaranteed to work. The PS3 controllers, not too hard. And you literally just run an application and you just leave it on. Automatically maps it to what the Xbox controller would be mapped to. See, that's pretty much the example. It's going to turn here. You can see I tapped the normal brake, not the other brake. This is a rainy, and I could have went into environments and everything, but I suppose it doesn't matter. I suppose that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're not already, and keep it beast mode. See ya.